Welcome to episode 109 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
Live from a hotel.
And Gray.
Good evening, everyone.
We're going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on Bungie.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansOfD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansOfD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Hollow River. I think it's really cool that he did that for us, and that we have him doing that every week. It would be nice to get an updated one. So if you're listening to this and you'd like to have an updated Hollow River, as I would like to, give him a tweet at SDF River, and let him know it's time. It's time for him to record a new Hollow River. Because really the only thing that needs to change is that he needs to add Focus Fire Chat to that list. Which I think is more than doable. A couple of things on the list. First up, a shout out to Unalala. She's almost always here in our chat, and tonight she is soloing Fantastic Beasts at the movie theater. So I think it's a funny concept of soloing a movie instead of just saying I'm going to a movie. But I wanted to give her a shout out because she's always here, and I really appreciate the support. Guardian 1 really appreciates the support, and when she listens to this, I want her to know that she's awesome. Additionally, I wanted to show everyone this super sweet. This is the best $15 I've ever spent, and it's this Iron Banner pin. Like, this thing is so fantastic. Like, look at how thick this is. Like, this is a really huge chunk of metal. I realize that the other sides are gone, but I mean it's beautiful and it's heavy, and all of the details. Like, there's some Bungie words right here. It's fantastic. Additionally, I wish to thank Flounder for getting me these, which are little teeny pins with an Allen wrench screw that you put on the back of this. So instead of like here's my tricorn pin, and I had to stop wearing it for a while because the little plastic piece came off. I mean, it just comes right off. It's just this little plastic piece right here. Oh my God, why? And so those little screws just fit right over this little nail, and then you screw them on, and then hopefully you have to not worry about that. Excellent. I wanted to get to Iron Banner. I wanted to close down that topic. So for me, this last Iron Banner was fantastic. I love not having to get to rank 5 if I don't want that weapon. I didn't make it to rank 5 on any of my characters. I did run 4 bounties on my Hunter on PlayStation, and I ran 4 bounties on my Hunter and my Warlock on Xbox, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't feel like, oh my god, I have to get to rank 5 to get this extra package, which might have something cool in it. I just kept playing until I got the drops I wanted. And I had a great time. I only need 3 slots to be 400 at this point to hit 400 on the PlayStation, and I just really had a great time. Definitely part of that had to have been that it wasn't Supremacy. I hate Supremacy. I don't want to look at that ever again. I will probably play it when it shows back up, but only because I got that Trespasser. And let me tell you what, it's just fantastic. Like, it has moved into both PvP and PvE for me. I love the Trespasser. I love using it. I love the way it sounds. I can't wait until I get the Crucible killer ornament for it. But yeah, overall,
I'm gonna bring this up.
What's that?
Sorry, I was gonna bring this up later, but you mentioned that you had a great distaste for the first Supremacy Iron Banner.
Yes.
There's a bit in this week's update that may apply to that. I was going to bring it up later when we were talking about the Crucible matchmaking, but I think now is appropriate.
Yeah.
They said at the end of the Crucible matchmaking section that today we identified and fixed a bug that was causing personal skill ratings to be calculated incorrectly in special Supremacy variants, i.e. Rumble, Infernal, and Iron Banner.
Yes, I did read that, and I did want to make sure that we brought that up because what a horrible thing to have happen. That would explain the 9 losses. Like, I don't ever get 9 losses. It just doesn't even make sense. Statistically speaking, I will win 1 out of every 5 at least. And
I immediately thought of you when I read that.
Right, I wanted to rip up the paper I was reading when I read that, but it was my phone, so I couldn't really do that. But what a horrible thing to have happen. Being put out of your skill set, and if when you read this article, you'll see how they take into account personal skill level, which makes sense to me. I'm happy with that. But yeah, I had a really great Iron Banner. There wasn't any pressure to do anything that I didn't want to do. I got plenty enough drops for me to wish I didn't get so many drops. And when I say that, I only say that because I don't have any room to put anything. Like, I got a bunch of gear and then I didn't have anywhere to put it. But it wasn't the fault of the drops. I felt like the drops were really fair. I felt like that's what really kept me going. I really enjoyed doing the bounties. I didn't feel like I had any problem completing the bounties this time. And that first Iron Banner, I just didn't even think I was going to get anywhere with it. Although I think on that first Iron Banner, I did get to 5 on both characters. Maybe I didn't. But yeah, I didn't get there. I wasn't really interested in that Cryptic Dragon. I got a couple of them with high caliber rounds, but I wanted to make a note very quickly that I feel like, I don't remember who I saw who tweeted this, and I meant to bring this up a couple of weeks back, but I wasn't feeling it so much as I just read it and understood it. But there's, you have to make your own meta. Like, I absolutely understand that there's certain weapons that rule in certain situations, but if you can find out what you feel comfortable with, there's very little that's going to stop you from being successful. So, I saw that everyone was talking about this high caliber rounds Cryptic Dragon, and I wanted it. And when I got one, I wanted to use it, but I just didn't feel comfortable to me. And so the most important thing in Crucible, I think, and really the game in total, is to be comfortable with what your loadout is. And I feel like that's my DIS 47, the Trespasser, and I've moved to machine guns. Right now, I'm in a crossover between Baron's Ambition and the Iron Banner, the current Iron Banner heavy machine gun. I don't know which one I'm really going to stick with. What's that, Agrios?
If you have ballistics that increase the impact, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Iron Banner one comes standard with the linear compensator. Okay. It is tied for the fastest TTK in the game for a heavy machine gun right now.
Very cool. Tied with what?
The Bane of the Untaken. The Bane of the Taken.
Is that the
Bane of the Taken? This Queen's Wrath event, like the Challenge of the Elders heavy machine gun.
Uh-huh.
and Bone Crusher, the Vanguard machine gun. But both of those also require to have a impact increasing perk to be the fastest.
Do you know if the
There's some variants in there? The Ruin Wake with the right things, it all of a sudden becomes competitive in that too. A little bit of variant body shards and criticals.
So yeah, so I think one of the things that I really want to do, and I'd really like to get some people together to talk about this, is because I have 1,000,000 Ruin Wake, and then I have 1,000,000 sidearms, and I want to have sidearms. Like I'd like to have one of each. Like I think it would be cool to have one really cool Havoc Vision, one really cool of the one from New Monarchy. That New Monarchy sidearm is really cool. Like I've just got a bunch of them because each of them comes with good enough rolls to where I think, well, this is pretty cool. Well, this one's pretty cool. I'd like to just kind of whittle it down because I just have a ton of them, and I know I don't need all of them. And I know that I only need 3 weapons at any one point in time. I can only use 3 weapons. So it's, I don't know. But yeah, so the most important thing in Crucible is just to feel comfortable with what you're using, and I feel super comfortable with both the Trespasser and the DIS-47. I love that DIS-47. I don't know what I would be doing in the game right now if I didn't have that DIS-47, but I wouldn't be having as good of a time as I am right now. So I just wanted to go down the line and see what you guys thought of this last Iron Banner. Gray, how did you fare this last Iron Banner?
The loot was really good. Just like the last couple Iron Banners, I think that they've got the loot in a good place. I did get my Hunter to rank 5. I did not focus on getting my alternate characters up. And I ran quite a bit of Iron Banner on the PlayStation 4 to try to get my Titan, which is my new primary character on PS4, to a reasonable light level. But even after a whole day of grinding, I went from 0 to 330 light. So I wouldn't say that my character was quite competitive yet for Iron Banner or other things. I'm still, I mentioned it last week on the podcast, and I still feel this way. They missed a chance to really explore Ephraidite's character and also reward people for getting to rank 3 and rank 5 by having an additional quest. And I hope that they do kind of take that feedback and implement some sort of a quest system to both expand on the lore of the Iron Banner and the characters that are involved with it, as well as give us a little bit of a carrot to get to rank 3 and rank 5.
Totally. I could definitely see that. Although I am really glad that they got rid of the rank 5 package. The carrot is the weapon, and if you don't want that carrot, then you don't have to worry about it. And it has freed me. I had such a great time in Iron Banner. Sharks, how was this last Iron Banner for you?
I liked it because it was control. It was kind of a nice, refreshing Iron Banner because of that. It really wasn't. I'm not chasing anything anymore. Literally nothing. Nothing is going to help me. Nothing's going to do anything. I don't need. As far as the gear goes, there's nothing in gear wise. Gun wise, I have all the guns that I want as far as perks and stuff. So I was literally just playing for fun. The only disappointment I really had in this last Iron Banner was the lack of people playing. Seemed like I don't know, people just off. What'd you say?
I was losing you altogether. I don't know if everyone was, but you were becoming.
What I was saying is that it seemed like solo playing. Not a lot of people playing other games, but overall, I thought it was a good Iron Banner. Not as much Red Barn, which was we're still matches. Still a handful of matches where you get it. You're not going to get none. But yeah, no, it was good. I look forward to Supremacy next Iron Banner.
No, Supremacy never again, Sharks. Agrios, what was your experience with this
awesome.
last Iron Banner?
To show you how much So I logged on this week, refresh this week. The weekly is Supremacy, okay, with no radar. And I was kind of worried because, Supremacy can suck, okay? With no radar, Supremacy is so awesome. Absolutely awesome. I want Iron Banner, Supremacy, no radar.
Too many
You're
letters.
Bungie, do it. I bet you I can even drag Remy in for it. Come on, try it.
You know what? I'm not so scared of Supremacy now that I have that Trespasser, but we will see because the shotgun can be a steamrolling instrument.
Try this week. Try the Supremacy this week. Hardly any shotguns. It's all awesome.
Thank you, Sharks. I will definitely check it out. Agrios looks like he's like hunched over building one of those like a little ship in a bottle. Like that's what I imagine that he's doing. Like I see him hunched down over here, and I just imagine him like building one of those tiny ships. Agrios, what did you think of this last Iron Banner?
I've been having a blast. I liked the last one too. I know you have a sour taste in your mouth from it, but I don't think matchmaking was matching me up inappropriately. If anything, I think I fell on the generous side of it because Sharks and I were even talking about this. Well, no, that can't be true because I was in the same matches as Sharks and was beating Sharks at Supremacy. And that doesn't happen. So it wasn't just my matchmaking. I'm just good at Supremacy because of the way I play. But I had a blast this time. Controls the old school original Iron Banner. It's what I think of as the core Destiny Crucible experience to me. So the game mode's great. I do the best in Control because I know where people are going to be. Heck, I'm a strategy player. You tell me where the enemy's going to be, and that's all I need.
That's a good point, and that works both forwards and backwards because oftentimes what I will do is I will hang out on a control point because if everyone leaves a control point that you own and then one enemy just runs up and starts taking it, then somebody has to run back. So oftentimes I will just hang out and I will just wait for them. But that's where the strategy will come in. I know they're going to come over here at some point, and I just have to make sure that I'm curating that experience. Are they going to run in through this doorway? Are they going to run in through this doorway? That's a really good point, Agrios.
I had kind of a poor experience in Crucible through a lot of the Taken King. I mean, not horrible when I say poor, not like earth-shatteringly poor, but poor because there were not rerollable weapons, and RNGesus was not kind to me for my Crucible rolls. In year one up through when we had the rerollable weapons in like House of Wolves, I always had a very comfortable set of weapons to use. Now, fortunately, RNGesus was kind enough to grace me with some really, really amazing god tier weapons. I pulled one Clever Dragon out of the first Iron Banner, and it was high caliber rounds, less range, more stability, whatever one that one is, and counterbalance. So that's amazing. It's just an amazing gun. It's more amazing than its stats. Than you should be. Comparing it to the other pulse rifles I have other pulse rifles with rolls, and just comparing stat for stat, they should be better. So, I mean, a lot of times the only difference to impact and rate of fire, and they're better in every other category and have better other perks. They should be better, but I drop people like no other with the Clever Dragon. And then I fortunately got two excellent God roll, full auto, rangefinder, extended range type of perk in the middle matadors. So I'm really feeling comfortable with where I'm at there.
That's cool. And this is where I wish that I had more room, is because I got some cool Clever Dragons that I might like to play with. I think that the perk you're looking at is Handlaid Stock. And like, I don't want to play with it right now, but maybe just keep it around for a while. Maybe I'll get bored one day, and maybe I'll just keep dying to this thing over and over, and I'll finally say, well, let me go check this out. On that note, Shax, out of a weekly package, did give me a Hopscotch Pilgrim. I never thought this was going to happen to me because I see everybody around me getting it. I never got it. It's got Head Seeker, full auto, and Handlaid Stock with red dot OES. And it is so fantastic. I am like totally in love with it. Even from a million miles away, it does so much damage. The problem with it is that I only have it on one system now, and I really like to try and keep both systems as even as possible, because what if I really started using this hopscotch pilgrim all the time, then I wouldn't want to go to the other system. That's a bummer. But I'm glad to hear that you got good drops. I got caught in this loop on the Xbox where I was like 393, but every place where they were dropping me 395 and 396 was a place where I already had a 395 or a 396. So it was like I just kept getting doubles of these over and over, and I didn't actually raise but maybe one light level, but I got a bunch of gear that's going to take all of my characters that high. So, it's
that's what happened to me getting to my 385 cap.
Oh yeah, you kept getting the same ones.
That stretch before the heroic mode launched, I had a lot of problems right there in the middle of that, where I just kept getting the same pieces that were already higher, and I couldn't get it to move. Right,
385, 391, and 395 are like there's like stuttering stones for me, and those are the places where I am. But once I hit 395, I have played the Wrath of the Machine heroic once, and I had a really good time. And Paris, if you're listening, I'm sorry I cussed so much in front of your kid. I don't even usually cuss that much, and I did, and I'm sorry. But I went from 394 to 397 just in one shot through the raid, and that felt really great. And then in Iron Banner, I went from 397 to 399. So, and that was on the PlayStation side. So, okay, Jez, did you play Iron Banner this week? What did you think about it?
So all I did was complete my hunters' bounties, and that was it. I didn't really feel like this Iron Banner was fun for me.
Really?
So I just stopped after what I thought was probably the best time to stop.
Did you were you able to put a finger on what it was that wasn't fun for you? Because I had so much fun in this Iron Banner that I would be happy ever playing this mode ever again.
See, the problem is everyone put their finger on what I found was not fun this weekend. It was Clever Dragon.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Do you yourself have a Clever Dragon?
Yeah, I got one from the first Iron Banner.
And do you use it as well?
I used it for a little bit, but I like my scouts.
I like my scouts as well. What scout do you use?
Yeah, I do a PvE, but
PvP, it depends on the map. If it's a normal shotgunny map, I'll stick with DIS 47. But if it's a longer range scout, like a longer range map, like a First Light or something, I'll switch to a hard impact scout, like Jade Rabbit, or I still want them to bring back Cocytus, but they're never bringing it back.
What is it?
The gunsmith used to sell a Omelon scout called the Cocytus.
It looks like it says Cocytus.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, COCTYUS.
He sold
I've been waiting on it forever too.
He sold it twice.
Dang.
So sad I missed picking up the package to get a good roll on it.
Yeah. So, needless to say, when it comes back, I'll just
it's the
pick
best
it up on all three
super
characters.
high impact. It's the best super high impact scout rifle in the game for certain, looking at all its stats.
Well, please let me know if you see it when it comes back. Like, I always check the gunsmith, and I'm always checking, like I've got the RE45 auto rifle I really enjoy, and I always have a DIS 47 and 43 just in case a really good roll comes up. And actually, since the roll on my 47 that I use right now, I haven't seen another high stability one. All I keep seeing are high range.
You probably got the exact same roll as me.
Yeah. Is it the
I actually have it up. 1 second. It is a why don't you load all your thingies? It's not loading. Okay, perfect balance. Full auto. And something that won't go away. And hand laid stock.
Let me see what I have. Well, I'm sorry that you didn't have such a great time. I really didn't. I really wasn't bothered by the cryptic dragon. Like I did die to it quite a few times, but I didn't feel like it wasn't like a thorn to me. Like I've been hearing people talk about that it's a thorn to them, and I see it. I see a lot of those people. A lot of people have been doing videos on the high caliber round one, and it is insane how much the reticle jumps when that happens. My 47 is perfect balance, full auto, and hand laid stock.
Yeah, the exact same.
So
See, the reason why I don't like Clever Dragon is even without high caliber rounds, I feel like it has a huge amount of recoil, which
And so
I
you-
don't know why.
I mean, recoil for you or causing recoil when you're hit by it?
Yeah, causing recoil for me when I'm hit by it.
Yeah.
Like I'll aim at someone's head, and immediately, as soon as a Clever Dragon starts hitting me, it's off. And
interesting.
It's I don't know. And I checked to make sure they didn't have high caliber.
I have an explanation for that. And I saw this. I can't take credit for this because I read this somewhere a long time ago, or months ago anyway. There's something to be said for the amount of bullets shot by a gun, even if you don't have high caliber rounds on it. For instance, a bullet hose auto rifle compared to the highest impact auto rifle, even without high caliber rounds on it, the bullet hose has a slight advantage over the impact one as far as it causing havoc for your enemy goes, because there's a certain amount of recoil per bullet, and you're just simply hitting them with a lot more bullets with the bullet hose than you are with the high impact one. So that same premise should apply here. The Clever Dragon's such a low impact, high rate of fire one that you're simply just accumulating a lot more little doses of recoil than with the slower firing, higher impact pulse rifles.
Hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is, because even though all of these low impact guns really won't do the damage to you, getting hit, like I notice it when I sniping is they'll come in and covering me with it. I'm like, okay, well, it's a problem because I only need one shot on him. Boom, I can't shot because you really know when you're looking down the sight. And it is the same when you're just playing, you're having gunfights at the same time too. It really is. So I can see why it's that. But what I is that those guns were not in certain at what people use.
Good points.
Excellent points, Sharks. I think that you really nailed it. I was just looking at this, like I pulled up this weapon, this 47 in 3D mode, and now that I'm looking at it, I really want someone to make this for me so I can mount it on my wall. I wonder how much that would cost. Like I know that there's a lot of people in the community that make these things, but it's gorgeous. I don't know that I've ever just seen it in 3D like this. I need it. What were you gonna say, Sharks? Alrighty. Let's go to Agrios. Agrios, what do you have for us this week?
So we had the Bungie raid ride along, Wrath of the Machine, that took place yesterday. Twitch Master Scott and MC Pate were joined by co-host raid designer Joe Blackburn and world artist Rusty Durbin to play the Wrath of the Machine, or host the play of the Wrath of the Machine on heroic mode. Fortunately, they did it on heroic mode this time. That was nice. Throughout the raid, they delved into their inspirations behind a lot of the creations and scenes we saw, places we went. They talked a lot about like the opening of the Wrath of the Machine raid and a lot of the bosses. They showed early concept art, some that made it, some that didn't, and talked about, that process. They even, talked about access and why your bonus fallen damage doesn't work on him and what his story is a little bit more in depth. So one of our G1 members even got a mention. What did you guys think of the ride along? Did you guys have a chance to catch that?
Okay, well, first off, I was in the middle of changing diapers when that member got mentioned. So, what was it? Who was it, and what would they say?
I actually didn't catch the mention part. I'm just aware it happened.
Got it.
But it was
Anyone
Sharks.
else? So Sharks got mentioned. Gray, did you catch this? Jez, did you catch this?
Yeah.
Oh, what did they say? We're putting Jez out.
I figured
caught
Sharks
it.
would be able to fill us in, but he's cutting out, so.
You could type it. It's I can't remember what it was even about. Obviously,
Yeah.
it was raidish.
I saw it in the chat, and I thought to myself, I need to go back and look at that, and I just never did. Well, you know what? Congratulations to Sharks. How very cool to get mentioned during that thing. Uh-oh. He's saying
There?
something.
Video, can you hear?
You're choppy. I heard barely.
Hear me? I turned off my video.
Let's see.
Well, that.
Might be a little better.
All right,
Tell
Sharks.
us about the ride along if you're there. And he's not.
He's not.
All right.
I need to know which hotel chain this is, so I don't stay there if I'm ever going to be calling in like this.
Spoilers, it's all of them.
This episode of Guardian 1 is brought to you by La Quinta Inn. La Quinta Inn with the best hotel Wi-Fi. La
that's
Quinta
funny.
Inn.
When Sharks left, I got all of your videos.
Interesting.
You know,
Yes, I can hear you.
I take that as a no.
Oh no!
Oh man, I'm excited to hear this story, and I definitely meant to go back and check it out. Lomboy says Mannequin challenged Sharks. Seriously, he sat there like this forever.
Oh, now I remember it because Mystic Rose just reminded me. It was about we spent so long on this boss, and they were talking about he used to be harder. Because they were talking about how they scaled all the bosses back from super hard to what they are now in hard mode.
Cool. Very cool. I don't know how that relates to anything, but very excellent.
It was during the ride-along. They were doing the hard mode. They're talking about hard mode.
Totally, but what does that have to do with Sharks?
And that's what Sharks was saying about.
Sharks said it in the chat, and they
Oh, very cool. Sharks, can you hear us?
Okay, I can hear you. I'm not gonna leave video off.
Good idea.
That works.
Sounds a little better.
It was
Does
nice
it?
to see you. So you were mentioned on this ride along. How awesome was that? And what did they say?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. The chat was going really good, and they were at the time that they were talking about Vostix, and the crew was talking about how they had gone through and they had designed that part of the raid, and that originally it was supposed to be harder. And at that point, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And basically, I put in the chat, I was like, wow, that's crazy that you guys were even contemplating doing it a harder version of that, because for me personally, on day one, I hated that part of the raid because it was so hard. So, I mean, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to harder the way that they were talking. But Deej actually noticed my comment, which is cool. I mean, it shows that he is definitely watching what everybody's saying in that chat, like everywhere else. Bungie is always watching and listening. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And then, of course, Pope Bear and Leopard Stealth, like we're like noticing it too, and we're like, "Oh, look, Sharks is getting a shout out on the live broadcast. Oh, look at it!" Yeah. So, but no,
That's
it was
awesome.
pretty cool. It was awesome.
Very cool.
That brings
what's
up one question that I want to ask you guys.
what's
You
that?
want a third hard mode that's even harder?
Yes, and when I like we started talking
Just
about
keep going.
we started talking about the different things, like we were asking around, well, what do you think is going to be heroic mode? What is going to change? And one of the things that I thought would be cool during that VOSIX was if everybody had to shoot the monitor before it exploded. Like, you don't have to put a lot of shots into it, but everyone in the group has to shoot each of those monitors, or the monitors on the sides also need to be shot at some point. Like, kind of like you don't know which side that vapor is going to show up that you have to slam on so everyone gets supercharged at the end. You don't know which side the extra monitor is going to be on. Like, I think that it would be extra cool. Like, I would be excited about a third harder version. And this Jez, actually goes to something that we've talked about a lot, and this is that that I don't feel like there's anything to grasp for once you get to like okay, now I'm max light, and now there's nothing left for me to do. I feel like once you hit max light, there should be a max light challenge. There should be something that is even harder, something that is even like something that you have to be max light in order to get there. Like 399, not going to do it.
I want to say something to this. Okay, first thing I want to say, and it's typical that Jez brought up a hard mode, because the second Datto entered the building during that stream, everybody was like, "Oh, great! What's Datto going to ask Deej and everybody? Oh, are you going to do a hard mode? A harder mode for people that have challenge?" And one of the things that went through in that stream were from some of the big names. For instance, Pope Bear, which actually kind of surprised me. But then again, it doesn't, because Pope Bear is big into PvP. But he was like, people like that are having issues finishing this challenge. Why are people asking for a harder mode? Now, I agree with you. It would be cool if they had a harder mode and something to look to strive for, but you have to give Bungie a little bit of leeway, because how far do you take it? For instance, myself, I've done the hard mode challenge every week, over and over again, and we've got it down pat. We're going through and doing it really fast, like what Datto I'm sure does. I'm sure Datto can practically do it with one arm tied behind his back at this point, but not everybody's like that. So where is it that Bungie stops as far as bringing in harder and harder and harder content?
I would personally say that it should stop when it takes a week to get through.
You're talking about like one play session, one time through?
No,
the whole...
it takes a week at least for teams to work on it and get through it. Like, eventually they'll get back to a normal thing, but this sprinting is very odd to me when I come from a different type of raiding background.
Okay, so that's
a game mode where you actually work for it, and nobody is going to get it done the first day. It's going to take a week or 2 weeks.
Right, like in most MMOs, in order to finish the end of a raid, you need most of your guys in your raid geared out with the gear from that raid. Basically, doing the first bosses gears up your team to finish the later bosses.
Totally. And you know what? And that's part of what makes me feel like this would be super awesome, is because in the beginning it was difficult. Many of the parts of the raid were difficult. You get to that second phase and, everyone needs to really learn the flow of the thing. But once you get the flow down, like, you're right, there is a sprinting that happens. And I feel like like this last level, there should be a regular tier, a heroic tier, and then like a mythic tier. And maybe you don't even get anything except for like ornamental items or things that like an emblem or a medal like Agrios is always talking about.
I do have to admit that if you went in at the suggested light of like 365, like the upper echelon of like most people got to when the raid started, it almost started to have that, because at the end of the raid you were getting like 2 to 3 shot by everything. So it was almost at the point that when you first went in there, it was kind of like that you had to get gear from the raid to get better at the raid, but you can get 400 gear everywhere.
I feel like, my opinion, and if it's the last expansion of an evolving game like Destiny, like it's the last expansion of Destiny 1, it's not quite as feasible at that point in time as it is at all the expansions previous to it. But Bungie hasn't done this at the expansions previous to it. They've handled all the raids previous to this one pretty much the same way they've handled this one. And that would be that the hardest current content available in the game should be nearly impossible for anyone, even the best of us. And that presents a challenge. Then whenever we move to the next expansion, everybody can levels up. Well, then everybody can start to have an easy time with that nearly impossible material.
I really like
my ideal scenario for an evolving game.
There's a reason why the last raid of vanilla WoW was only finished by, I think, like 0.05% of all players.
Right.
That's amazing.
Okay, I have to say I agree with this in that when you compare it to other games, and when I say agree with this, to have one extra hard mode to make it that super challenge mode or whatever for people that are the badass of the badass to go in there and really push themselves to get finished. Because when you look at other games that have their version of heroic mode or hard mode or whatever they call them, those are games that you go in there and you die like instantly, and most people don't get through even when they are kick-ass loving the game, and there's a lot of people that will try to play those types of games first on that. I mean, most normal people don't even try that because they know that they're not going to get through on it. So yeah, I mean, it would be it kind of does make sense to me when we listen to the devs say, "Oh yeah, we designed this game, but when we designed it, it was too hard." Well, that's kind of BS, because we're seeing people go in and solo these games with what they've made it. So was it really that it was that hard, or they just want to make sure that everybody can go through and play it, which is basically that's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's fine to create encounters at like impossible difficulty and then scale it back for easier modes.
Right, totally. So have 3 different levels, have that super, call it auto mode.
Now, something I'm really surprised.
Trials of Osiris mode in the raid.
Something I'm really surprised about is I really didn't feel as though, in any way, shape, or form, there was that much of a difficulty increase from the easy and the heroic mode of Wrath of the Machine. I mean, there were not very many mechanical differances. And,
no, it's not harder at all. It's not harder at all. I mean, I can literally say, doing the challenge modes on this raid. Okay, I'm not talking about past raids.
Well, I'm not even talking about challenge yet, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to, because challenge is supposed to be the most challenge of all, right? So the combination of...
I was going to get to that next, but I'm just saying, just to start off with, baseline, I'm surprised that I expected the difficulty of the hard mode of the final raid, potentially, of Destiny 1, to have been a more drastic departure from the easy mode. Like, I understand they made a hard mode and scaled it back to make the easy mode, but I would have thought that more more elements and more difficult elements would have been removed, but there really was barely any difference at all. And then the next thing I was going to say, and this is what you're getting to, is that after the uproar, after the first challenge modes were released back for King's Fall and how easy the challenge modes were, and they were making fun of the fact that, well, why'd you call them challenge mode if they weren't really a challenge? Why don't you just call it, extra objectives or whatever? It's not really a challenge. Then I'm really surprised that they didn't do it, make it a lot more intricate this time.
Agreed.
Well,
I think
why they.
Think that part of the, I personally think that part of the problem is they are basing if it's hard or not off of internal people. They should bring in an outside group and have them test. No, they don't. They test it themselves. They have their own group that tested it, and it was
people in the community to do testing too. I know some.
Well, maybe they need to get some better people that actually think that it's challenging.
You know some of the two sharks, actually.
I think the reason why challenge modes are the way they are is because they want to give players an option to not do them.
Yeah, I see that.
Right.
Because if they fundamentally change the fight, then you're fundamentally making it so you have to do challenge mode to get past that boss. It has to be that old school, here's a big red button, if you click it before the fight, it's challenge mode activate, in order for it to be something that significantly changes it.
No, well, see, I agree and disagree with you, Jez. I think that's one method of handling it, and I think that's an awesome idea. But I also think it's possible to just simply put, you have to do it this way on top of it. And the having to do it this way is so utterly difficult that that's where the challenge comes from. Like, you have to, the challenge mode is that, you have to do it with this or without this or in only this.
Like a sidearms only VOG. Check out Data Does Destiny at YouTube to find that video.
Right. I love the way Datto figures out to play the game to make it exciting. Like that blind run on Crota was fantastic.
Oh, that was amazing.
That was so cool. That was so cool. Okay, so overall, I really, really enjoyed that ride along, and I wish that there was a more how do I say this? I wish that there was an easier way, a more reliable way to get some of this information out to the community, because I feel like some of us guess some of these things, but without any kind of yes or no, like from an official source, it kind of loses its coolness. Specifically speaking about the Death Zamboni. They explained that a lot of people wrote into them and said, well, this doesn't even make any sense. Why would they build this thing on top of this? Like, this is clearly just a mechanic. And they said that the reason that's in there is because these Fallen have gone mad with Siva. So they're just kind of creating everything everywhere that they are. Like, there just happened to be some up here, and they threw this together because they're crazy with power. They did it just because. And that's kind of the sense that I got as well. Like, when I was playing through it, I was like, well, I don't really understand. Like, is this to get rid of the pigeons? Or like pigeons, such a big deal on the wall that they had to make this Death Zamboni to clear these pigeons out. But when they said that, it made so much sense. It made so much sense that it's just because they're crazy. What's that, Sharks?
Well, you know what else is I actually, okay, we are very critical of Bungie, and I want Bungie to understand that doing what they're doing with these podcasts and showing people stuff like that, it is awesome. And I actually said this right after the podcast. I put it in the chat to them. Whether they saw it or not, I don't know. But I think it's great that not only are they doing this, but they did this on a current raid. They did it not too long after it was released, and they talked about stuff community one, for instance, thing that, was kind of bugging people, myself included, is like, oh, why do you have all this open space? The disco room and all this stuff. You could have done so much stuff here. And they turned around and they said, oh, well, we put that there because it transitions from one place to another, and you can't have the Zamboni where the end raid part was, where access is, because of memory constraints. So that big open area does something with the memory, and it was so awesome to hear that. And now that Bungie is saying, oh, look in the next couple weeks, and we're going to show you more stuff of the current things like the plague lands and whatnot, and answer more questions. This is great. This is what we have been asking for, and they are delivering it. Kudos to Bungie.
Definitely. I love hearing people's opinions. I love seeing behind the scenes stuff, like car door face guy. I was gonna contact Gray and have that particular image ready for him to show on the stream right now, but I never did. Daddy Diaper Man, that's my secret agent tag. But it was this really amazing piece. I tweeted it out if you're following me, and it's like this 2 car doors fused together and sitting over this what originally was going to be Vossix. And it's cool. It's so cool. I love seeing the in-betweens like that. I love seeing where things started. So it helps me understand what direction they chose to take these things in. I love all of these behind the scene things. I wish that they were more reliable. I wish that they were more often, because it would be really cool. Gray, what did you think about the stream?
I actually haven't watched it yet. I'm yeah, I didn't get my homework
Oh
done.
no, spoilers.
Damn. So thanks, guys. Thanks for ruining it
Yep.
for me. No. Yeah, it is it has been a very very demanding week outside of my gaming life, so I haven't had a chance to watch it. I look forward to it because I really enjoy these ride-alongs. I love the one that they did for King's Fall, so I will watch it, and I will keep an eye out for Shark's shout out on the show, but unfortunately I haven't seen it yet.
Sharks, last thoughts on the ride-along?
I'm looking forward to the next ride along. So that's the best thing I can say about it, because it's awesome. I'm looking forward to the next one.
As am I. Jez, final thoughts on the ride-along?
Yeah, it's good, especially that they did it on hard mode just to play with the hard mode mechanics rather than just stroll through on normal.
Remember when they did that Prison of Elders and they couldn't beat it? That was good television.
And now it takes like half an hour.
Right. Agrios, final thoughts on this ride along, and then moving on.
Cool beans, more of the same.
Excellent. You hear that, Bungie? We always love these things. Screw the detractors. It's kicking ass. We love it. What you got for us, Agrios?
What are they detracting? What are they detracting?
There is people. There's a reason that they have subscriber only chat at some point during the show.
Oh, but those are like trolls. That 40% of the population's trolls. You got to weed those out.
They still exist. And they're loud. So, what do you got for us, Agrios?
Oh yeah, moving on here. So next they talk about Crucible matchmaking. They say that it was designed to be as fast and fair as possible. When it comes to matchmaking, their design goals are to provide you with a clean connection to your fellow players, keep the time you spend in orbit between matches to a minimum, and set a match between you and a worthy opponent in that order. They say that they go about finding a match for us by first identifying a pool of available players with good connections to us. Within that pool, they choose players closely matched to our personal skill rating. If they can't find players within that pool, they widen the variance in skill. If that doesn't work, they expand the search again with more variance in connection quality. Once enough players are selected, they break them out into equally skilled teams. They do note, though, that skill is not a factor in Trials of Osiris. Period. Skill is not a factor in Trials of Osiris.
Okay,
And
I want to interject.
are matched
I wanna
against players
interject
with
right
good
now.
connections and similar scorecards.
Okay. Okay, so this is the one thing. It bugs the crap out of me. What the hell is wrong with doing what you're doing in all other PvP modes with trials? Okay, it makes no sense. And the reason I'm going to go off on this, the reason I'm going to go off on this is this past weekend, trials was on, obviously. Went in with a team. The first team that we went up against, our brand new card, right? The first team we went up against, 2 of those players were 2,400 ELO, and the third one was 1,900 ELO. Okay, that was our first game. Okay, if they had this other version of their matchmaking setup, that would never have happened because the 3 people that were playing were nowhere near that skill. Okay, second match. All 3 players were 1,800 plus ELO. Okay, that's our second match. Ridiculous. Again, we are not 1,800 ELO players. I know some, but I am not one. Okay, third match. The same game. 3 players, 1,800 ELO. Okay, so it's broken.
should elaborate
It makes
for the
absolutely
audience.
no sense to me.
Sharks, you should elaborate on
ELO?
the audience what ELO is and how
And
that
give us
relates to
yours.
your ELO.
And give us yours
My-
because you're a good PvPer, and I want to know where exactly that's landing these other people.
They need to understand what this means, you coming against these 3 people with this number. Because I understand you and I know what it means, but you need to elaborate.
Okay, so your ELO score is you start off at a base ELO when you've never gone in at 1,200, and for every win and loss and your kill death ratio, it drops it. Okay, so like if you're going in there and losing every match and getting your butt kicked, it's going to drop it every single game. They say that 1,200 is kind of like average player, and anything higher, you're going up that rung. When you're going in and playing trials against somebody that is an elite player, you're going to lose, and your ELO score is going to drop. And because of that, a lot of people that aren't good at PvP, they're not going to go in. So, you're not going to see a lot of really low ELO scores. Now, I went in and we actually played one match. It was on our 5th game. All 3 players were 900 or below. I mean, and that was ridiculous because my ELO is usually between 1,100 and 1,200. Maynard's right now is right around 1,200 plus, and Velvet's is at 1,300. So that kind of gives you an idea of our percentage score right now, and it hasn't reset for a long time. So if any of us had been going in and playing on losing teams, it drops it quite a bit. I know at one point, like before last year when Maynard went in, he was like almost 1,400. So his really died last year playing. So it's just really frustrating that Bungie has a system implemented that's in place that is working in normal PvP, and for them not to get in the version of PvP, it's just making it where they are basically trying to tell everybody, unless you are one of those god players, you don't deserve to go to the lighthouse. I mean, that's basically what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I feel like I don't deserve to go there.
To me, it seems like your proposal of adding skill base to it should be very easy, and to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, there's nothing wrong with how they have it set up now. Simply also add skilled matchmaking within that pool to the end of it. And I mean, they don't even.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it seems like a no-brainer. I mean, if you just take, I mean, sure, as the higher you get, the better card you have. You might be the worst person left in that pool, and then the worst person they get paired against might be 1,800 ELO compared to whatever you are at that point.
But
it might still happen, but not till you're way up in your card.
Right. I don't mind that at all. In fact, our group doesn't mind going in playing these high-end players. It's cool. I mean, we have gone up against 1,900 plus players and won. It is a possibility, but the percentage isn't there. But for you to really win, and it's a hat, right when you're first beginning, and you're playing against, these god players. Yeah, if it was this game 9, not many people are in that pool left at game 9, and you might go up against a really good player. That, that's fine and dandy. But to start off a card and it's, I'm sitting here complaining. I feel bad for the 900 ELO players that we stomped on those guys. They couldn't sneeze. We would sneeze and we would kill them. I mean, that's probably what they were feeling, and that's what it had been like for us when we were going up against these other people. We shouldn't have been paired with them, and my team shouldn't have been paired with the awesome people. It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
Yeah. So I played Trials, the Spooky Trials, and I was playing with Hades from Sherpa School and also K-Dub. And we just got stomped. Every single one of our games, we got stomped, except for the last one. And we did the stomping, and it was so night and day. Like, I don't think that it had much to do with the fact that we were playing super high ELO players, and then we went to like some normal people. I think that we worked well as a team, and against some regular ass people, we did well. And I remember when they made this change to have it be where they're on a similar part of the scorecard, and I thought it would be a cool change. But really, I think that there needs to be skill-based in a skill-based game like Trials. Like, I think that I don't mind a challenge. I don't mind having to adapt to somebody else's play style. I really like, verbal communications. I really like playing in a tight group. But going up against people who are that high out of my range, like, I don't see it being fun for either person. Like do the people who are 2,400 ELO, do they really enjoy going to the lighthouse every week when they don't even have they don't have a challenge in front of them? Like, I know that I would rather be on that side where every week I just went and it wasn't a big deal, but I know that I am not having a good time when I'm just stomped over and over and over.
Well, okay, here's the thing, and this is not, I can't say this is majority or not, but I know that there are people in the that are these high players that moan saying Trials shouldn't be sweaty for them. Okay. And I don't agree with that, because it's sweaty for everybody that's less skilled than them. So why shouldn't it be sweaty for them? But they do. There are a good handful of them that do think that it should be a cakewalk for them to get to the lighthouse. And I don't get that either. Like, for instance, I can throw this a different way for me. My last raid this week. I went in and somebody messed up on our team and locked me out of the room. We had already gone. This was the second time for this challenge. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, it kind of was, because I like completing it myself, but we had already shot him and killed him. Okay, the very next fight is up on top, running away from the big Zany, right? And I was getting the chest, and I said, okay, you can pull me through. Myself and another member hadn't come through yet. I was like, just pull us through. And I was still walking. Well, by the time they pulled us through, the thing had started, but I must have been far enough in. So I actually was behind the Zamboni. And I'm like, well, crap, I can't even get to you guys. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try to get to you. I tried jumping over the Zamboni and I died. Well, they didn't wipe. They completed the whole thing. For me, that sucked. I mean, I had not done 2 parts of the race, got the rewards for it. For me, I was like, I don't give a shit about the rewards. I want to go in there and have the enjoyment of trials of or the going in, using that skill and beating it and winning.
Oh.
But maybe there are people out there that don't care about that, and all they're looking for is that loot. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Now, I've been quiet for a while, and I think I have a little bottle of gasoline for you guys. What do you guys think about everyone wanting to get rid of skill-based matchmaking, and it usually being the better PvP players wanting to get rid of it?
Oh my God. Bungie.net there's actually a post on Reddit this week, and it's funny, it was very foreshadowing. Someone made a post that 90% of the trending, or 99%, I don't know, of the trending posts on Bungie.net were about removing skill-based matchmaking from standard Crucible. Now, this taking us back from Trials, and I have some things to say about like that too. I read the list off of their priorities there. I'd like to add to this conversation. How would you rearrange those priorities, or what changes would you make to that list of priorities I read? Should I read them again real quick?
Do it.
Okay. So first, we identify a pool of players with a good connection to you. Within that pool, we choose players closely matched to your personal skill rating. If we can't find players within that pool, we widen the variance in skill. If that doesn't work, then we expand the search again for more variance in connection quality. And then they say, to summarize, connection quality is always the highest priority factor in Destiny matchmaking. It's the last thing sacrificed to put a match together in a timely fashion. Would you guys be willing to sit in orbit longer to get better matches? And how much longer?
I suppose that
What Jeff
depends.
says about how much of the community wants to get rid of skill-based matchmaking completely.
So I what I wanted to do first was define sweaty, because I feel like I'm
You have to put effort into it.
You have to put effort into it, and what does that mean? Like people don't just run up to you and die, because I'm never really in those games. Like when I'm at the top of at the top of the board, because I've been killing a bunch of dudes, I'm still trying. It's never really super easy, It's never
Sweaty.
What's that?
I'm always sweaty. Always.
This part of the podcast is brought to you by Right Guard. Right Guard, the best for those sweaty Crucible matches. Right Guard.
The thing is, I would say it's if you are trying to win, like super trying, then you're being sweaty.
Because
Well,
that
then
sounds
all
that's
of my
fun
games-
to me.
All
Like-
my games are sweaty because I'm always trying to be top
Yeah.
of the leaderboard. So that's
Well,
yeah.
like-
It just goes down to people don't want to try. They don't want to work for anything.
Well, see, the way that it makes it sweaty is if the other team is trying just as hard.
And you know what? Those are the ones where I have the most fun. Like when it's coming down to within 1,000 points of the score at the end, those matches make me so much happier, because the only other ones that there are where I get stomped out. So the good people in the community don't want to have to try. Like this is what I don't understand. And it's troublesome to me. Like so because they're so much better, the pool of the people for them is smaller. So if they have to go up against people that are similar to them, then they're going to have to try, and they don't want to try. Like this just sounds
part
stupid.
of the issue is the really, really good people. Some of them are starting to spend absurd amount of time in orbit waiting to get match made. There are videos out there of some really absurd wait times for these really skilled players waiting to get into standard Crucible play, because it won't pair them against people who are so much worse than them.
That's just a broken system on Bungie's part. Like they should have a time limit based on their matchmaking, and say, okay, well, if they don't find this pool for this in so many seconds, then they're going to widen the pool so that they can get those players in.
Well, I think it's more to do with because they're already having issues trying to find someone with a good connection, then they're going down the list and finding skill, and it's like, well, you're kind of out of everyone's league, so.
Okay, well, okay, here's okay. So Agrios is bringing up, this topic here. I'm going to throw this at you guys. Okay, so let's say they get rid of skill-based matchmaking in all of PvP. Well, no, wait, no. Okay, I'm saying let's say they get rid of it because so many people don't understand what skill-based matchmaking does to their games. They're just getting on this bandwagon and they think, okay, let's get rid of it. It's going to be better. Okay, so boom, skill-based matchmaking is gone. Now you are being put up against random teams and you're going to go in and you're going to play PvP and you're going to lose 9 games in a row in your PvP match and get every single day. Then you win a couple and then you'll lose a whole bunch, right? Let's say this happens to people. Will people stop playing PvP like they stop playing trials? Because I guarantee they will. Yeah.
And also, because of that, the lower end is dropping off. So your matches are just going to get harder and more people want to leave.
Right. Exactly. It's like a curse. It's a vicious cycle. It keeps going to repeat and get worse on every cycle. I personally,
this goes back to what I
would be willing to.
Oh God, jeez. Okay,
you're
on,
breaking
Agrios.
up. I can't tell when you're talking when you're not. All right, so I'd be willing to sit in orbit longer to get a smaller skill-based pool and a better connection pool. Either one. Take your pick to improve it. If I could have less red bars or people even closer to my skill level, I'd be willing to take more time in orbit right now from my perspective. But I have seen videos of ridiculous wait times on the higher skilled people. So there is some sort of balance, some sort of happy medium they need to find here.
Okay, what I was going to say is a lot of people, I believe, don't they don't want to see this skill-based matchmaking anymore, and they think that it would be better because they're comparing it to trials. Well, why not compare it the exact opposite way? And why not? Bungie should see that everybody dropped off when they went to this matchmaking and trials. Bungie's not dumb. I honestly can't see Bungie doing it, but they do a lot of really easy things when the community all rallies behind each other. But I swear, if they do it, people are going to get pissed. They're going to go off the handle because they're going to be like, this sucks. This is just like playing trials. Well, yeah, that's your problem.
So I feel like I felt very reassured by this weekly update that they had no intention of getting rid of skill-based matchmaking in standard Crucible. I got no impression that was even on their horizon. They said, of course, they're always listening to, what they have to say, but to me, it didn't seem like they were implying they were going to get rid of skill-based matchmaking at all, that they already feel like they prioritize connection quality enough.
So there's a side to this that we haven't talked about, which is often roped into this conversation, and that is having separate matchmaking rule sets for a ranked playlist versus a non-ranked playlist. What do you guys think about them getting rid of skill-based for a non-ranked playlist and then keeping skill-based in for a ranked playlist?
You're going to cut in half the number of people queuing up for any given game type in either one.
Yeah, but this is what they did in Halo, and it was never a problem. Like there was in Halo, there was ranked and there was just casual. I forgot what it was called. I think maybe.
Well, you also have to remember that Halo, after you're done the campaign, all you were doing is PvP. There was no reason to do PvE.
That's true, but I feel like that there is a lot of talk about splintering the player base. But if your choices are to chase off anybody who's too low to even to enjoy a game long enough to want to play it again, then you're already fracturing the player base. Like I don't think I played more than 1 or 2 ranked games because I wasn't interested in playing against people who wanted their rank to go up. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to have a good time. I just wanted to kind of play around, sit on the back of a warthog, drive a warthog, run around with my assault rifle. Like I wasn't interested in being super competitive. So I don't know. I think that it would be. I think that it would be awesome.
Here's the weird part with that though is when it comes to the skill-based matchmaking, it helps everyone find equal matches. But if there was an unranked playlist, like it's made for more of a casual environment, but for the people that aren't good at it, like me, for instance, it's still going to be this horrible shitfest. Because everyone's going to be higher level or higher skilled than me. So it's decentivizing me from ever going into that one playlist.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would never go into it either. I just I want to have a good time and move on with my day. I don't want to get stomped out. That's the worst feeling ever. And that's what happens to me in trials. I think we need to move on. What else? Everyone else say your piece about this, and then we'll go to Agrios.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go first. My last piece on it would be Bungie needs to recognize that there's something in the way that they have designed the netcode behind this game that is making it much more difficult than their competitors in this same space. We don't hear near as much of an outcry from first-person shooter competitive PvP type games as we do about Destiny and its matchmaking. I hope that they recognize that as a criticism from the community and from the gaming industry, and as they work on Destiny 2, this won't be an issue moving forward.
I think that's an excellent point, Gray. Something I hadn't entirely considered. But do you think that this is at all derivative from their unique PvP, PvE crossover, and that, people obtain necessary PvE rewards by playing PvP? So you have this player base that may not otherwise go into PvP playing a large amount of PvP. And in other games, maybe you don't really have that sort of overlap and that sort of need to create that. Do you think that creates a unique situation here in Destiny?
I have a hard time seeing how that would actually affect the netcode making connections such a difficult issue in Destiny. If anything, that creates a larger player base, which should make it easier. I think if anything is working against
I
them,
was more going with the community reaction to the connection issues and such. I guess I was reading more into that.
It's hard to speculate.
When you say issues, I meant issues as in the players complaining about the way it works.
Oh.
Here's a weird
the people
anecdote.
that scream the loudest are those who are most comfortable in playing in a lot of different PvP settings, different games. That's your apples to apples comparison. I don't know that the casual player that this is their only PvP experience, that they're complaining near as much.
Here's a weird anecdote. At the start of the Burning Crusade, the first expansion for World of Warcraft, the best PvE shield for tanks was found in arenas, which is their high PvP skill system.
Interesting.
Okay, here's how I'm going to end this discussion from my point of view. You would never see a Formula One car in a sprint car race, and you would never see a sprint car in a Formula One race. Keep skill-based matchmaking and add it to all PvP playlists. Thank you.
All right. Moving on.
So, a note from Cosmo on Twitter this week is that console bans are being issued today for devices with a history of banned or restricted accounts. Cheaters beware. This has been the most pleasing news I've heard from the banhammer situation to date. So these people going out and creating, Golden Gun 1, Golden Gun 2, Golden Gun 3, Golden Gun 4, and cheating. in events, you hopefully should see a decrease in that because their device is going to be banned from Destiny.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Screw those people. This is something that you were talking about previously, Agrios, where your concern was that these people don't care about their accounts. They're just going to make a new one, and they're just going to keep screwing up people's day. So,
just because they like the power trip, right?
Yeah.
So, moving on to a lighter side of the Crucible. Well, I guess it depends on which side of the Sparrow you're on. Total Sparrow kills on First Light this week for Trials of Osiris. As you may or may not know, First Light, this is the first time ever it was a map for Trials. It's also the first time ever we had the ability to mount Sparrows and jump on turrets in Trials of Osiris. So I got some interesting figures here. I pulled off of Reddit. First off, there we have the most Sparrow kills total by people. Xbox held the first two places for this with 30 kills to Bazooka Joe and 29 kills to Chari Beast. PlayStation held the rest of the spots with 27 kills in the leader and the rest ranging from 23 to 25 kills. That's pretty impressive for one weekend on a Sparrow. We also have stats here for most single game Sparrow kills. The top two were taken by PlayStation on this one, with 10 kills to the leader and 9 kills to second place. You may note that the second place slot is held by SC Slayerage, the Destiny soloing god, who has done many feats of astounding PvE content, solo style first.
Excellent.
We also have Gunner medals in Trials of Osiris. The Gunner medal is awarded to someone who gets a 5-kill streak in a turret, which with a 3-man game type is even more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
We had only 6 Guardians who managed to achieve that between both systems. And finally, total Sparrow kills in Trials of Osiris this weekend. On PlayStation, we had 25,360, and on Xbox we had 17,969. That's a lot of Sparrow kills.
That is a lot of Sparrow kills. Oh man, Lawn Boy says in the chat, what if you buy a pre-owned Xbox and you can't play Destiny because it was banned by Bungie?
It's a risk you take.
Oh man, it's a good question.
So that's interesting. I don't know how I don't know how exactly that can be checked on either, because like mobile phone devices that are blocked, they have a special thing. It's like the SEN or something like that. It is blocked, and that can be easily checked ahead of time, and it's something that is noted on eBay. But I mean, there's no real way to like tell, without putting a game in and logging on that's been banned by any given place. So that is definite concern. I wonder what happens if you buy something through GameStop's used device program and it ends up having a restriction like that.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'm sure you can bring it back and exchange it.
Very interesting. So moving on. Movie of the week this week, we had the movie of the week itself was a animation, a very, very well done animation of the SIVA growth happening, perhaps being born, maybe.
That was awesome.
Yeah, very well done. Honorable mentions this week go to somebody redid the Ghost in the Shell trailer to apply toward Destiny. Did an excellent job of it. And the second honorable mention went to Punch Party, a pair of Titans having a real good time on a control point with a bubble.
All very cool videos.
This week, closing in the weekly update, they do let us know that we will still have a weekly update next week on Thanksgiving, which is surprising. I mean, I don't think anybody would have blamed them if they took the week off, but I'm glad to hear we have something coming in. They do say, however, intelligence reports will be random and light. The week after that, they say they'll be packing our bags for Anaheim, California. The particulars of our mission are still a mystery. will cross that finish line soon. That is most likely referring to the PlayStation experience in Anaheim, California. It's interesting that they phrase that their mission is a mystery, that they're, going to be unveiling something there. I mean, that seems to be what they're implying. My guess is probably talking about Sparrow Racing. That's what I'm hoping. Perhaps they'll have Sparrow Racing set up for all the people at PlayStation Experience, and we'll get the deets on that.
Right. I can't imagine that they're talking about anything else. Very excited about it though. You know what? After this last Festival of the Lost, though, I don't have my hopes up for anything other than some really sweet Sparrow Racing. Like I want them.
That's the bright side,
What's
there's
that?
that. I mean, that's the bright side. There's at least that. I certainly hope we don't just get the 2 tracks we had before. I certainly hope they don't only add 2 tracks.
Well, okay, I could go along with them only adding 2 tracks if they kept the other 2 tracks.
Oh yeah. But
Like,
still,
so
no.
4 total? Yeah. I don't know. I think that we're only going to see 2 tracks, maybe 3.
6.
I don't. It's okay. So here's the reason I don't think that is because when they gave us that SRL book, there was certain hoops that you had to jump, and it took X amount of time to get through all of those hoops, especially the winning one and the coming in first place. Like this was a problem for some people. I did complete my book on both systems, but I think that at most we'll see 3 tracks. I kind of feel like
1 track per planet.
I kind of feel like with anything more than 3, you're not going to get the kind of precision down, because racing on those 2 tracks only, you really
is
okay, but you still had an opportunity to learn it in like a very trials fashion, where exactly where people are going to be. Like, I feel like I don't know. I'm hoping for 3. I'm hoping
if it's up for 3 weeks again, I'll learn all 6 that way by the 3rd week. I want 1 on the moon, 1 on the Cosmodrome, 1 in the Plague Lands, 1 on Venus, 1 on Mars, and 1 on the Dreadnought.
What about 1 on the wall?
You can't get on the Sparrow and the Dreadnought.
Oh,
What?
yeah, you can't get on the Sparrow and the Dreadnought. That's a good point.
I could put a special track. These tracks aren't existent anywhere else. We can't go to these tracks and walk around in them on normal patrol.
We don't know
Well,
that.
no.
Wait, we don't know that because they said that they are changing the way Sparrow Racing is this time. And we have all talked about this. That
I think
if they
could be a special event.
Well, what I wanted to say, though, is that they probably won't be on the Dreadnought anyways, because it's basically like, oh yeah, we put a track inside of Crota's lair. Like,
Right.
It makes no sense. Like, at least you can say, like, well, they cleared out most of the dudes from this place, so they put a place in the Cosmodrome, or they put a place in
No,
Mars.
there's enemies on the track. It's
Yeah.
a really high-risk
That's
track. Some crazy
that's what
hunters want to put up,
That's why I said cleared at most. But it's basically like putting up a random recreational track in the middle of the bad guy's fortress is kind of silly, even though the bad guy's dead.
Sports, man.
Yeah.
Adrenaline rush, dude. Dude, we're Guardians. Okay,
No,
we can get killed and resurrected over and over again. You know what we got to do for a rush, man?
No, here you go. Agrios, what you need to do is you need to have the final part of the track lead through his actual raid, and you jump off the end as he comes up.
You know what? That would actually be really cool. I could get down with some sparrows on top of those tomb ships, and you have to go through that whole part just on your sparrow. You get off and you die. Are you looking forward to SRL, Jez?
If it's varied enough to keep my interest. Like, the only thing that I didn't complete last year was wins on Mars, and that's just because Mars never pulled up for me enough, apparently. And when it did, I didn't like it. But I think I stopped playing after the first couple days because that's all it is, going around in circles. Yeah, I don't really like racing to begin with.
Interesting. Gray, are you excited about SRL?
Yep, and I'm hoping that Tess Everest brings a package that we can pay $2 for, and it gives you a chance of unlocking one of the new tracks. That's what I hope.
Unsub. I am unsubbing you on everything I know you on.
Wait. I know what will bring me back into Sparrow Racing.
What's that?
SRL Double Dash.
Double Dash? What is this?
Mario Kart came out with Double Dash, which had like 2 people on one cart, and the other person just does their thing. So you have the person on the back of your cart shooting. There we go.
I'm interested in that as well, Jez.
From what they implied before, that their special event's going to have something to do with some sort of team interaction and shooting of something. Because I forget what they said, but one of the times they were talking about this early on, they implied that there's something to do with SRL for people who didn't want to ride Sparrows.
Interesting. Very interesting. Sharks, are you looking forward to this?
New content to stream. Awesome. Yes.
Got it. I'm trying to decide right now whether I want to spend the $15 to purchase the remaining sparrows that I don't have. There's 3 sparrows on each system that I don't have. They're the exact same ones, and with that thing saying, this will be a sparrow that you absolutely don't have, part of me wants to buy it in case those go away, because it's like the solar one and the void one I don't have. Agrios, what do you think about this SRL coming back?
I enjoyed it the first time around. I'm looking forward to come back around again. Like I said before, I want more tracks. I'll be really disappointed if there's only 1 or 2 more. I want one on each planet. I figure this is the final incarnation of SRL we're gonna get. So whatever we get, that's all we're ever gonna get for Destiny 1 type thing. So I want it to be good. I want 1 per planet. I see what you're saying about Sparrows and the Dreadnought. I think they can still do it. If we only get 5 tracks, 1 on each of the planets, fine. I live with that. But
Agrios, I think you're dreaming so big. I mean, look at what we got in terms of new content with Festival of the Lost. I'm keeping a very low bar in terms of expectations, so I can hopefully be just a little bit happy with what we get.
Like, seriously, how hard is a level editor to like? I've done level editors in games. I'll whip up a Sparrow track. It's not hard. It's not like it's like Sparrows are the most accurate things in the world. Everybody's racing the same track, so the same difficult parts are the same difficult parts for everybody. It's not like there's needed to be balance of any sort that players are coming at it from different angles.
I think we're getting 2 total.
Bungie never came out with any reasoning why Festival of the Lost had such little content. And I know Jez and you disagree with that critique of it. Our hope is that the team is so focused on Destiny 2 that this is just they're putting in minimal effort to get by until then and keep the community engaged. That's my hope. But if they come out with something big, great. I'm not going to go into it with the mindset of we're going to get a ton of new tracks and a ton of new Sparrows and new game modes and this ability to interact with the race when you're not actually in the race, and actually affect the outcome of the race. Like if you can shoot down other Sparrows, all that would be awesome. I have a hard time believing that Bungie's going to do it right now.
Well, I think you're going to shoot out enemies to help keep your teammates alive.
I think it would be cool if there was a new
like physical, like captains and like dregs on the course,
Right, and it would be strategic which ones that you take down. Like you wouldn't want to shoot all of them because those could act as a help for you if you leave them for the people behind you. But if you don't take down the right ones, then they're going to slow you down.
Hug the right. I got the right one.
Does that mean third lap is heavy round?
Well, I didn't want to fuel this. But I'm going to. How much work do you honestly think it would take? And how much time would you need to make some extra stuff for this Sparrow racing like Agrios wants? They've had plenty of time. They've had a year, and it only took them a year to make this raid that we're doing right now. So I don't see a problem with that.
Here's the biggest problem: 2-person mount. Done. We don't have any of those.
Well, no, I'm saying that you would be stationed on the track and run. Maybe the track goes past you in like more than one place, and you can like see like from your vantage point that way and that way, 2 different parts of the track, and like
you guys know why it's not going to happen, right?
Tell us.
Because you're not paying for it.
Well, who knows? Maybe well, I don't know. Maybe there'd be some bonus that you could buy, a booster that you could buy that would help you while you were doing it type thing as far as what you could sell. But they definitely pretty clearly implied that there was going to be something with the SRL event for people who didn't want to raise sparrows.
Interesting. Well, the book was $10 last year. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It looks like we're coming up quick on the end of the show. What else you got for us, Agrios? I want SRL. I'm excited about SRL.
Can I throw something random out there?
I don't want to pay $10 for the book. Yes, Jez, go.
Remy, how do you feel that Call of Duty made it to Europa before Destiny?
Made it to what?
Europa before Destiny.
I kind of feel like this is one of those things in an industry where, somebody, those developers definitely played Destiny. And so they're like, man, it would be so cool if Destiny took us to these places. And they just jotted it down and then just made it happen. Space battles, like Infinite Warfare looks like so much fun. It looks like an expansion of Destiny. It looks like, here's the space flight that I wanted. Here's, like you said, going to Europa. So I don't know. I'm not going to buy it, but, maybe if it comes down super cheap, I'll buy it. I heard a lot of people are disappointed about it. So I don't know. I can't wait to see what Destiny 2 brings, just because, they've had so much time to think about this, and they've had so much time to critique the game themselves and what they want it to be. And then so many people, there's so many podcasts about Destiny, like we've been talking about it since before the game came out. Like if you want to see what I really want Destiny to be, go listen to any of the shows before the game came out. I think the first 6 or the first 5 are before the game came out. And I feel like Agrios, right? I feel like Agrios, like, oh, I want 6 tracks,
Oh, no, we were way beyond that. way beyond that.
Well, at the time, we also thought that it was just going to be the tracks were going to be like cut out parts of the patrols, so it'd be easier to mass produce them.
That's very true. I agree.
No, see, I think it's easier to mass produce them without having to find places on planets that they work.
So I'm cruising around the Plaguelands, and I'm really hoping for areas where, if you choose to take air, you might not have a chance to get off a trick, and so you have to kind of keep your Sparrow on the ground because that's the only time that boost is activated. Like, I'm looking forward to some more strategy in the races themselves. But okay, what else we got, Agrios?
So Black Friday is coming up. It's a great time to get good deals on things. It's a great time to get friends into Destiny. If you're looking for a way to breathe life into your Destiny game for the upcoming content gap, getting a new friend on to guide them through Destiny might be a good way to do that. It seems as though the best deal announced so far to get Destiny this coming Black Friday would be through Target. They have the Destiny collection available for $30.
Excellent.
Nope. There's a better deal.
Is there?
Yep. It's $25 for Guardian Con. 1-day pass. Get your friends a ticket to Guardian Con on Black Friday because that's when they go on sale. Show them how awesome this community is.
Better deal to buy Destiny.
Oh, well, maybe, but...
Don't play it. Just look at a bunch of people that play it.
All right.
So,
what else you got?
So the something that was mentioned on Reddit this week, and I thought it was an interesting question for you guys, whether this is something you would want or whether this is something you would hope not to happen. What if Destiny 2 was entirely account based across all platforms.
I would love it.
If it's on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, you can only have 3 characters no matter what. You can't play 6 if you wanted to attach to your account.
Yes. I've been thinking about this a lot, and Jason Schreier was talking about. He tweeted to Gathalion that he could. How did he phrase it?
Confirm it.
He confirmed.
He can't confirm. He can say it's not on Xbox 360 and PS3 because that was part of the job posting that we were talking about. But he can confirm PC.
Yeah, he confirmed PC.
And here's a reminder that Jason Schreier has never just said something was 100% true that didn't become 100% true. And he said a lot of way out there things about Destiny way in advance of them actually happening.
Okay, so when he said that, I thought to myself, well, number one, I would have to buy a computer. Number two, I would definitely buy a computer because I want to have the most experience. I want to play with the most people, and I don't want there to be this separation. Like Gray, I want to talk to you sometime about what it was like to watch, so many people, like everybody on this podcast, play over there on the PlayStation. Like you had never played with Sharks before. And so to me, as soon as I started thinking about that, I thought, oh crap, that's another 3 characters that I'm going to have to play. And like, I can hang with 6. I don't mind. I mean, I really haven't picked up my Titans in a very long time. I played Hunter mostly. If I have extra content I need to do, I can just switch over to my Warlock, and I have a good time there with that self-res. But the idea of an account wide for no matter where you go is a dream come true. And it would probably be the only thing that would make me happy about not having anything transfer over to the game, and interestingly, they already do something along these lines with like emblems. When you get a code for an emblem, if you're on both systems, the one code will go to both systems. Like like if you're linked to both systems, you get the code on both systems. And so, this would seem to follow right down that alley. But I would be so happy, so happy if I could, I'm playing the raid on PlayStation, everyone goes to sleep, and then I can just pick it right back up with somebody else on the Xbox. This would be amazing. And like, I don't want to play 9 characters. Really, I don't want to play 6 characters. I would like to play 3 characters.
To add to this conversation before everybody else responds, do you think it would also be a good marketing strategy for them? Do you think they would end up selling more units in all systems if people had this ability?
Yeah, I don't see there really being a downside to this. I don't really see people. I imagine that there are some people out there who would like to play 6 characters or 9 characters, but I don't know any of those people. I don't know. I think that this would definitely sell it. Although, I mean, we're still not talking about cross-platform play. We're not talking about, oh, well, all my friends are playing this on PlayStation and I can just pick it up on Xbox. But we are talking similar to that, where if I've been playing on Xbox and I want to move to the PlayStation, all I would have to do is pick up the PlayStation and I would be able to pick up where I left off on the Xbox. That is what we would see the uptick being. People who wanted to play with their friends.
The person who gave me the idea on the Reddit, they mentioned that they would be interested in playing PvE on the computer for the outstanding graphical qualities they could set and stuff like that, but be interested in playing PvP on the console because they could use a controller in a competitive environment and not be playing against keyboard and mouse people and, not worry about PC cheats.
Absolutely, like aimbots and things like this. Yeah, no, this sounds like an excellent move. If indeed this is the way it comes out, that it's account wide, 3 characters, I would love it. I would love it, and I would be in love. Sharks, what do you think?
I don't see that happening. First off, you have to remember that there's exclusives for PlayStation at the moment, and who's to say that they don't do something like that if a PC. Well, wait, hold on.
I was gonna
If
say,
a
I think that
PC
could work like when you don't have the license on PS3 versus PS4. Like if you got the Red Sparrow code and put it on PS4 and you went back to your PS3, it showed in your inventory, but showed that you didn't have the rights to use it right now. They could just
Yeah.
do that with PlayStation exclusives while you were on the PC or Xbox.
Totally. And that also worked with the collector's edition. I bought the collector's edition on the next gen on the Xbox One because I knew that at some point they were going to cut off Xbox 360 and I would just have to buy it again. So every time I went back to the 360, all of those the dances and the shaders were just grayed out. I just couldn't use them. So
Yeah. Okay, well, the other part on this that I wanted to say was what originally brought this conversation up, and that was about what that job listing had on it, and it had PC on it, and that's why Gathalion even asked the question, out there to Twitter, and Jason responded to it. First off, if you look at that ad, having it alone just 3 and 360 throws up a lot of red flags to me, because they are not going to be advertising for that for a new Bungie employee now. It's just not going to happen. Secondly, their ads that they have had in the past, and we're talking, when I say in the past, a year plus ago, said that they had PC on there. So, that just because that stuff has that on there, and just because Jason has been right with a lot of stuff, does not mean anything that we're going to see it on PC. People have been talking about this for months and months and months.
See, to me, Jason Schreier's word means a lot.
I saw his tweet. Now, the thing with Jason, okay, I agree with you. He comes up with a lot of good info, but he almost always backs it up. He didn't back that tweet up at all. He didn't say diddly squat on it. It was just one random tweet to
Gothalion. To Gothalion.
Yeah.
No one contacted him. Gothalion retweeted this guy's tweet with just a bunch of eyeballs across the top, and then he sought out Gothalion.
Jason can say, I confirm PC. Well, big deal. I could have confirmed PC last year too, because they've been working. They've been having jobs for PC for over a year now. So that doesn't mean that they're going to release it on PC next year. I think people are jumping the gun.
That's what Jason Schreier was saying, that he's confirming Destiny 2's released on PC. I believe that's what he was saying.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was saying. What did you think he was saying, Sharks?
I think you guys are all jumping the gun, and just because he said that doesn't mean anything. That's what I'm
So
yeah, just because he's been right every other time.
He didn't bring it up then because it's a tweet and you only have 140 characters. But he wrote this article back in September. Yeah.
And
Sharks is breaking up, but I believe he's trying to say that he reported on the leak of it being on the PC, but that was just a rumor at that point in time. And I think that's why he was clarifying that he can confirm it's on PC now.
Well, yeah.
He
said was that it was according to several sources.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's too early to jump. It really goes into that. Oh, I talked to someone that said that, and he has not done that with this. That's all I'm saying.
Gray?
If they do it, cool. But I don't know what's happening.
Thank you, RoboCop. So whether it comes to PC or not, I would be happy because it's a platform that would allow for more players. I don't know that we'll get cross-platform play, but what I think is very likely is because there's so much integration and future integration being built in between the Xbox and games with Windows 10, I think it's very likely that you would be playing your same characters between Xbox or Windows 10. It would be very surprising to me if they were going to divide up the accounts, that you would have a separate Windows account on Bungie.net or playing in Destiny on Xbox. It makes sense that PS4 might be, on its own thing. I would agree. I would love to have them integrated, and you're always giving the players the choice that if you don't link your accounts, you can play 6 characters. If you link your accounts, then you're limited to the integration and having only 3 characters as a maximum. I think that would be a great thing. Certainly right now, one of the worst things that I'm going through is having to level up these characters on PS4. It's not that much fun. A lot of times I just want to go back and play with the weapons that I know and I love on Xbox One that I don't have on PS4 right now.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm not dealing with just because I've been playing both systems since the beginning. I'm just really stoked that, I don't even really think about it. Sometimes I look down at the controller and I think, oh, like this is the system I'm playing on, or I'll look in my friends list and I'll be like, man, where'd everybody go? There used to be 3 pages of Guardian 1 people, and now there's just 1. So, and you know what? And that's why it's so troublesome when I get such a sweet weapon like that hopscotch pilgrim that I picked up because I was looking for it and I was not on the system that I had it on, and so I was like, bummer. Agrios?
So I've seen this mentioned before. I wish we had a 4th character slot. Like the fact that we have 3 different characters that we can have at any given point. I feel like I always would want 1 more character slot is what Destiny's taught me, because at different times I've wanted to start a game over for some reason or another. Or like, for instance, the people who are willing to make 3 Titans get a bonus, a benefit from being able to do that. And if you have a 4th slot, you are restricted to that. People who only run 1 character, if something comes out later of that, well, if you start a character, you can get 1 of these, and then you have this item to keep. The only way us that run 3 separate characters can go back and get that is if we would delete a character. Not only that, but I would love to go just run a character through from the start again, from fresh. Because I ran through Vanilla Destiny, all 3 of my characters. And they came up through the evolutions. I've never gone from level 1 to 40 through the story with the new quest system the way it is. The same way Gray never experienced the way we had to figure out where the heck we had to go on the map next by clicking on random planets in Vanilla Destiny. So I feel like if I had a 4th character slot, I could start a character over from scratch without having to delete one of my characters. And I'm not into deleting one of my characters. I can't even just create another account on my PlayStation because they don't own the DLC, the way they work the game.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. We're coming up on the end of the show. Why don't we wrap this up? Jez, did you have anything else you want to say about this?
Apparently I was unmuted the entire time and I just muted myself. No, I honestly believe Jason because pretty much everything he's ever put his faith behind has been true to like the outcry of millions, well, not millions, but to thousands of people claiming that he's wrong. He's so wrong. And they're like, I guess you were right about that.
Right. I remember watching him be right about everything that he's said so far. I don't know.
If he doesn't 100% believe it, he will say in a way that it's still a rumor.
Right. And I don't know, when Destiny launched and everyone was talking about putting it out on PC, Bungie's response was that, we think 4 systems is enough right now. Is what they said, like we've got our hands full with each of these other systems, so I would, if anything, I would say that was, a very small hint towards, 5 is probably not the amount of systems they want to be putting this out on. And so they'd be going from 4 to 3. And we're talking about, a newer set of requirements, a newer set of, available, system memory and all of these other things. So I don't know. I believe it. And if it is true, I really hope that they do the account wide. Like I'd love to just be able to go back and forth between each system and just have all of the same stuff. It would make me so much happier than, wondering where a certain sniper rifle went. Oh, it's on the other system. It just would be amazing. Gray, anything else on this before we shout outs and split?
Nope, let's do shout outs.
Sharks, is there anything else you wanted to say before shout outs and split?
No.
Excellent. Agrios, anything else you wanted to add before shoutouts and split?
Nope.
Okay. The last thing I wanted to say before shoutouts and split is that as I'm thinking about what I want Destiny 2 to be, I keep thinking about I want that feeling of when we first entered the Plaguelands where like I was lost. I came to a splicer door that I didn't walk through immediately because I didn't want to get lost. And then those little things showed up, those little splicer lines showed up and I couldn't make it through. And I never found that place again. Like I had no idea where it was. I went to every door and it was never that one. And then I saw my son playing and he walked up to that door and through those little lines was exactly where I had seen. And I was like, oh my God, where are you? Like, I need to know where this is. And what I want from Destiny is I want to feel lost for a lot longer time than I felt lost when I first played it, when I first played the Plaguelands. Like I want to have to go to orbit because I don't know where I am right now and I need to get out of here. Like I want there to be for a much longer time a portion of my playing that's just absolutely lost. Like I like the feeling of not knowing where I am. And like there's, they have, the little marker, when you're doing missions, and that's really cool. That's very helpful in learning your way around. But I really want to be lost. When I saw like the first concept art for Mars, like the Ishtar Collective or one of these places, I thought, man, this is going to be just like kind of like Crackdown, like where you could go to every single level of a building, and like I want to be lost. I want to not know where I am for a long time, and I want to have to rely on, like markers. I don't know. This is just a thought that I had before we get out of here. Why don't we do shout outs starting with Gray?
So even though I had mentioned before that the grind is real on the PlayStation side right now, it isn't half as bad as what I said it was, and that's mainly due to Mark Squared, Dakota Dark, 16-Bit Chef, Agrios here on the podcast, R Velvet J, and Maynard James. They, on Saturday this past week, power leveled me from 0 all the way up to 330 light, level 40. So we had a fun time. It was my first time getting to play with the guys on the PS4 side, and I really enjoyed it. Guys jumping in and out, and yeah, it was really cool. There's a really great group of Guardian 1 members over there, and I look forward to playing with them more in the future. And you guys get my shout out this week.
Excellent. Sharks.
My shout out goes to my wife, Guru Fu, for putting up with me doing a podcast during her birthday.
Appropriate shout out.
I'm waiting for his box to stop glowing.
Oh, I can't tell.
I agree with everything that you just said, Sharks. Agrios.
My shout out this week actually sounds like a mirror image, but flipped around of Gray's shout out. It goes to Gray for joining us on the PS4 side. We helped him power level, blah, 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 reverse of what he said. So shout out to him and happy birthday, Guru.
Jez.
My shout out this week goes to Leopard Stealth, who is, well, his wife is having another baby. Congratulations.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent babies. They're going to make a great fire team. My shout out, happy birthday, Gurufu, number 1. My shout out goes to Destiny Community Hub. This group of people, this application, has been around forever, and we are part of this. Like if you download Destiny Com Hub, you can just listen to the podcast right from within their app. You can and it's just in a list of all the podcasts that have been released. and you can just listen to it right from there. And it's so handy, and there's so much information. There's a Twitter feed, there's a video feed, there's a community section. Like it's just amazing, and I've wanted to shout out to them for the longest time because it's really fantastic. But this week it goes out to them. Thank you very much for hosting our feed and for bringing in new people to us. It's really excellent.
They've been
keep
around
kicking
since the beginning.
Yeah.
Too. Like, they've been around. Like they've been beta testing since before the game was ever out. So great bunch of guys.
Right. Absolutely. And that wraps up episode 109. We would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show or have any comments on something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.